Today on FTRTV, we're going to add some Wavemakers and also give you a quick update on how my dream tank is going. G'day everyone, my name is David Martin. Welcome back to First Time Reefer TV. And today we're gonna add some Wavemakers into this tank. But before we do that, I wanted to give you guys a quick update on how this tank is going and how the equipment that's on here is operating so far. And you're gonna notice as well, I do have a filter lens on my phone that I'm filming this with, and that's because my lighting is up on the tank. But I'm not gonna quite show you what lighting I'm using yet, but let's go through with an update of the rest of the tank. All right, so the tank is going through its cycle really nicely. The rock is covered in this just beautiful bit of brown sort of algae, but it's not going crazy. It is just enough. There was a little bit of sunshine that comes into this tank in the afternoon for about an hour or so. And this brown algae did populate very quickly on the rock. It looks very pink because obviously I've got a filter lens on there. But it has got rid of that white very nicely. There are sections of this tank where I have scraped the bottom clean a little bit just to help get rid of some of the stuff and the gunk off the bottom of the tank. But apart from that, this tank is pretty much nearing the end of its cycle. Just getting rid of the last of the nitrites on the tank there. The ammonia is all but gone. But apart from that, the tank is looking exceptional. I've been able to clean up the room a little bit to give me a little bit more space, but I'm starting to think that this piece of rock probably needs to move forward a little bit, and I might get another piece out in the back corner here, but I probably won't do that until I actually get some coral onto this tank and see how the tank looks. Now, the flow up the top, you're going to see that it has changed substantially. You can see how much that is cranking up because I've actually got my first Wavemaker installed already, and we will go through which Wavemaker I've installed, and it's going to be one on either side. And you can see the random flow generators are blooping very nicely there, and I've sort of angled them in towards the middle a little bit more rather than having them run down the side. Now with the Wavemaker installed, I've actually been able to drop my return pumps, the Deltec E-flows, from 75 watts down to 45 watts, just to manage the flow a little bit better. That's allowed to have less flow going through the sump, which I am definitely happy with, and that was the target the whole time anyway. I've dialed in the tank quite well. The overflow is incredibly silent now, so you can't really hear that. My Paul Twin Tran artwork is taken pride and joy right up the very top of the tank there. I'm probably gonna mount that up onto the wall, and I don't know what I'm gonna do around it, but maybe just get some more artwork. So that's the tank up the top. It is going really well. I reckon this weekend I'm going to go and get some cleanup crew for the tank and get some snails in there so then it can start munching away some of this brown algae that's in there. And it is brown, I do promise, although it does look very pinkly purple with this lens on there. But man, the rock looks great from the side. I'm pretty chuffed with how this rock has actually turned out. I'm very happy. Now underneath here, we'll get into the sump. Now the roller mats are operating marvelously. They're doing really well. I can manually change them there. You can't probably see underneath there, but there is lights coming for the bottom of this cabinet or this stand. So stay tuned for that one. But it's mainly this front one that's operating the most, and that back one's going to be the backup for when the front ones run out, because I do hate filter socks. Reducing the flow has actually settled down this chamber a little bit, because I was cranking a lot of flow before. You can see the sump is very manky, and I'm totally okay with that for now, because I'd rather get this out of the way before I decide to add anything. So the skimmer is performing exceptionally well. If you guys can see that, that is the most blackest, funkiest, oops, starting to come a bit over, the blackest, funkiest gunk in that is actually black. And you can see how black it is in the neck. I just adjusted that skin out too much, I think. It's going over, but that is jet black. So doing a really, really good job there. Nice and fine bubbles. I have got the red light on because I thought the red light might be the best, but blown away by this GW30. Incredibly silent and operating very well. The media chambers are going well. They are getting disgusting, which is fantastic. The live rock sitting on top of the media there, so that's going to seed those balls very, very quickly. And pretty much got me through my cycle extremely fast. Over on this side, that is pretty manky as well. But like I said, I'm not worried because those bricks are getting nice and seeded. So before I sort of introduce some livestock, I'm going to give the sump just a bit of a scrub out. I'm just going to get out there into the display tank and just back in through the filter socks. I haven't got my manifold hooked up yet, so I actually can't do that recirculating cleaning feature on my sump quite yet, but I will get around to that once I've worked out how I'm actually going to plumb it. Speaking of plumbing, I will need to cut one of these return lines so then I can actually punch a line straight up there. If you guys watched my video on the heating chiller combo that I decided, my wife lost her bananas and it is no longer going in front of the fish room. It is completely going out of sight and all the way up above the fish room. So she can't see it, and that was the only way I was able to keep that chiller without her losing her marbles. So yeah, so that return line's going to have to get modified, and then I'll take the chance as well to connect the return pump to the manifold on the other side. Reactors aren't working yet, but I have been able to fit them in, which is fantastic. So once the tank's up and running, it'll be GFO and carbon as needed. This little heater chamber, I've actually removed the heater rack that was in there. Fortunately, Eric thought ahead and made that as a removable thing. So I've actually got this chamber free now, which I don't know what I'm going to put into there quite yet, but I will figure that out. Calcium reactors in its place, and obviously just a lot of rubbish out the back there, but I do want to get a cabinet made up here, which I'm probably going to have to end up making myself, unless anyone out there in Melbourne is a cabinet maker and watching this video. You can hook me up with a cabinet that's going to be waterproof to display all of my equipment. Feel free to reach out and leave a comment in the comment section down below, because I would love a sexy cabinet to go there. Front of that's going to mount the iPad and also my controller display. And yeah, that's pretty much the tank. But livestock going into this baby on the weekend, starting with some snails and stuff just to clean up the tank first before we get any fish. So what else can we go through? How about we go through our Wavemakers now? So the Tunze Stream 3 is the Wavemaker that I have decided for this tank. As you can see, I've mounted it there just on the side of the weir. And let's go through unboxing one of these, and I'll show you some of its performance. Alright, so we've got the Tunze Stream 3 here, an absolute beast of a Wavemaker, and I was pretty excited to actually get these into my hands and into the tank. And first and foremost, you can see the box here. I love companies that make the effort to make the box actually really pretty, which is part of that customer sort of user experience to have a premium product. Now, this is the Tunze Stream 3 inside. At first glance, it's probably not as big as I actually expected it to be. But the elephant in the room is it is definitely a big Wavemaker. There's nothing fancy about this, but it pushes out an incredible amount of flow. And you're going to see later on in the video here how much flow it can actually push in my 8-foot tank. And you can see the unit there's, I can hold the body of it just in my palm there. And it does have this little extra part out the front there that has quite an open big grill that allows for a lot of water flow and a lot of movement. And these pieces here, that's the rubber magnets with the signature rubber feet that Tunze is known to have. A couple of extra deflectors, which we'll go through in a little sec. But we'll sort of take this apart here. So I can take off the grill here. That does just pop off. It takes a little bit of effort. And the impeller inside here is just absolute beast of a propeller. And you can see how this pushes out so much flow. And the impeller here, look at the size of that shaft. And you know, a long shaft is really, really good. And it's a huge magnet there, and it just has that little contact point inside, and it's got this maglev technology, which means the impeller actually just floats inside the body there. So the only part that touches is that little spindle on the end of the shaft. And mental note, when you are putting this back in, make sure you give it a good cranking down to lock it into position, to make sure it's properly seated inside the body, or else you're not going to be able to get the grill back on. So this one here is just the traditional honeycomb fitting. That's the standard fitting that comes with the Stream 3, and you can see the tip just pops off there. And then we've got another couple of fittings that can fit on here. So the first one is a deflector. So that allows you to mount the pump vertically or horizontally, but it gives you the opportunity to direct the flow from the Stream 3. Because you know, sometimes you don't just want it going straight out like a jet. So you can angle it in certain different directions. And it allows for much more versatility in use. Now, the one that's going to be most suitable for me is the one I'm holding here at the moment. This is the flow accelerator fitting, and that clips onto the front as well. And this actually increases the velocity of the flow, and especially because I'm running it along that 8-foot length of my tank. This is going to be the best one that's suited to me. And you can see the cable here. It's got that exoskeleton on the outside. Just going to give it that little bit more durability, and a controller that comes with a mounting bracket, which I thought was fantastic. Not something that you have to purchase extra. It's got a feed mode. It's got a pulse, which is 2 to 10 seconds, where you can control the intensities on the top and the bottom knob, and the frequency there on the middle knob. Then you've got an auto adjust, which it automatically detects the resonance of the flow in the water, and it creates its own wave. And then once you're happy with it, you go to the OK mode or wave OK, and that'll lock in the flow pattern that you've decided. So you can see here the 4 rubber feet on each leg. That is a signature to Tunze, and that what allows the pump to be incredibly quiet. They are difficult to get in, so just pull them off the magnet and squish them right in there, and then get the magnet back on. But I've had this running in the tank for a little while now, and they are incredibly silent. But we'll get into the tank now, and I'll show you what the wave action is like. Alright, so I've got a pump installed either side of my weir, pointing straight out along that 8-foot pane. And I've just got the pump cranking now, and you can start to just see that surface ripple action going across the top there. And it's basically just running slightly angled up towards the surface, but down along the bottom of the tank. And you can see that 2-second pulse from the pump there. And then it's got the backflow as well, and then the sort of the flow from the Wavemaker meets that backflow of the water going back towards the weir. And it creates this incredible turbulence in the tank. And as soon as I got these Wavemakers pumping, a whole bunch of detritus just lifted off the bottom and into the weir, and I could hear the filter, the roller mats actually going nuts. But you can see when that 2-second flow pulse is coming from the Stream 3, and this is going across 8 foot, 2.4 meters away, and at a 2-second pulse of 100%, and you can see just how much flow is actually cranking through. Now, that's why these pumps are designed for big tanks. You're not going to put this in your little nano, obviously, but for a big tank, it's pretty hard to go past the option of Stream 3s, just because of the pure output that they can pump out, and just that incredible sort of flow velocity. It actually blew me away. And we'll bring the camera down underneath the water to have a look in a sec, and you guys can see the actual flow. But look at that surface ripple action now. Like it's just something to really be marveled at. And I love actually just standing there at my tank and just watching this flow across the top. Now, more so than looking in the tank, to be honest. But I'm just going to adjust the Wavemakers up a little bit now, just to create some more surface agitation and see if you guys can see some more action in there, but let's see if that makes a difference. So now with both of the Stream 3s angled more towards the surface, you can see that incredible rippling action of that flow cutting across the top of the surface there, which is probably going to be how I'm going to just keep the Wavemakers running on the tank, because I do want heaps of that surface agitation. And like I said, as soon as that flow from the Wavemaker meets that black backflow from the tank as well, hitting that peninsula end, creates this really nice turbulence. So we'll have a look underneath now. You can see the blips from the random flow generators, but you can see that long, strong flow just coming from the Stream 3s and just punching along that 8-foot pane. And you know, look at that surface action. But you can see, even looking into the tank with the rock, and I've got a little bit of algae in there at the moment, you can see the algae just moving backwards and forwards. So it's creating a really nice sort of flow action in the tank. And I'm certainly happy. I'm probably going to consider adding one more Tunze Stream 3 to the tank, just to really help lift stuff off the bottom and just create that flow underneath the structure, especially once it's going to be stacked with coral. That's going to be pretty important to keep that flow underneath and get rid of all that detritus and all the junk from settling down there, because the benefits of running bare bottom is you can do that and just really rip the flow along the bottom of the tank to get rid of all that crud. But you can see the surface action there. I'm blown away by the performance of the Stream 3. Look, it's not like crazy wave actions or anything like that, but you can definitely see that it's something decent. And at this point, you probably realize why I'm doing a voiceover, because my microphone wasn't working or performing correctly. So you have to enjoy this video under a voiceover, but this is me probably just talking about how happy I am with the flow. And yeah, me talking to the camera, me having a think there about something, probably about how good the flow is, or maybe whether I'm going to add another one, but I do definitely want to. Then I'm going over to have a look at the Wavemaker and just pretending to know what I'm talking about. But performance wise, you guys can see there, the wave action is marvelous, and it's honestly even better in person, because you can really see that flow. But for big tanks, I think it's pretty hard to go past the Stream 3s, and I'm pretty excited to have them on my tank. That's at this stage, I probably really want to know what I'm actually saying here in this video, and I'm sad I lost the audio, but it probably has something to do with 65% of you guys not actually subscribed to this channel, and it's killing me. So if you guys could consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content of this upcoming build. And I'm going to cover the lights as well. That's coming up in a very video very, very soon. And if you guys like this video, please smash that like button. And like I said, leave a comment down below if you have any questions about the Tunze Stream 3 whatsoever. And probably consider subscribing if you can, because I'm just probably asking you guys to subscribe now, so you don't miss a video on the light, because I keep pointing up to the light there. And again, I'm pointing up to the light, but here it comes soon, I'm going to say. And my friends, until next time, peace. And to give you guys an idea of how much flow this thing is actually pushing, this is me holding it up towards the surface. Monstrous amount of flow.